Good morning again. It's the 21st. I'm missing my appointment that was scheduled quite a while ago to get my aqua hot fixed. The people that rebuilt it miswired it. I almost burned. My rig almost burned down because of that. And I've been waylaid. Nothing I could control, and they're upset because I can't make the appointment. And it's like, you know, hey, part of the reason I'm broke down is because you got the wiring crossed in here and you created a fire hazard. And we caught part of the fire hazard inside the aqua hot. Got that fixed at expense. I'm sure they're not going to want to reimburse me on that bill. There's very few people. You know, it's not that there's no. The guy that I have working on my auto, Howard, he stands by his word. I remember when the job on my other motorhome failed, he owned up to it and redid the work. Some sort of a seal failed when he did the brake job. He stood by his word. No, man, I stand by my word. Now that's a real man for you, and that's good. But I'm not seeing a society that's very good overall. Now, I told you when I was in the park earlier, up came a poll. How's Trump doing? Now, we didn't discuss that very well. But I want to tell you something. It was an extremely disappointing poll, but in a certain sense, it supports what I've experienced most of my life. Meaning, I got it wrong. I answered completely differently than most people did. My answer was not that Trump was doing a great job. It wasn't that he was a total failure. It was that he was weak. And Trump is so weak, he can't even realize how responsible he is for the Ukrainian war. Yes, Trump himself. That stuff was pushed along during his first presidency. It's his fault. And he thinks he's going to walk in there like a neutral party, throw his weight around and make peace happen. He's going to make World War III happen. 80% of the people who responded to that poll said Trump's doing an excellent job. 80%. Only 3% said he was weak. That's where I was at. 8% said he was a total failure. Well, no, he's doing just what baby Netanyahu has ordered him to do. And it's pretty sad. And right now, Trump has been ordered to do World War III, basically. So Trump is going to go ahead and bomb Iran. He's already responsible for the genocide in Gaza. And by the way, 80% of you are happy with that. 80% of the United Stupid States of America applauds the murders in Gaza. That's the way I see it. Boy, this media has got a ironclad control on this population. They'll sell you anything they want, and you'll buy it too. Yeah, Trump is telling people not to jack up prices under these circumstances, but a lot of prices are being jacked up. Not a very fair deal, but that's the way it is. Now, I took my little girl, Lorraine, into the beauty parlor and got her washed, got her nails done, even blow dried her. And the prices have gone up there to the point where it's the last time. I can't afford to have somebody else wash my dog from now on. And the last dog I had, I washed him most of the time. It was a bit of a traumatic affair, mind you, but I washed him myself. So I'm going to do that with her. I have to. And I'm going to trim her nails myself. Why? Because if I wanted to get the work done outsourced properly, it's damn near $60 a month. $60 a month I need to save. I can't spend everything. But while I was there waiting, and it was a long wait, I looked and I saw the collars. I saw the stuffed toy animals. And I saw prices. Now, the prices on the dog food were outrageously high, I thought. Man, I was wondering if Costco was giving me a good deal. Yeah. It's much more affordable at Costco than it is over at PetSmart. And I wish I could keep going back there to their services. But it was going to be like $378 to get a package like I bought last time. I can't remember what I paid last time. It's been a while. We got good value out of it. But I'm just going to have to get her in the shower with me and get the towels out. Have a wonderful time. And I think she'll love being rubbed. That's for sure. And I've got the brushes and all that, so I have to do that for myself. Back when COVID occurred, you couldn't get a haircut anyway. Really couldn't afford it very well. So I started cutting it myself. And now today, that's what I do. I don't bother to go in. Now, the prices on the dog collars and the traffic leash, as they call the short leash, in Amazon are okay, but they're not good anymore. PetSmart has got them for half the price Amazon has them at. Actually, less than half price. Amazon charged me $11 and change for one. PetSmart wanted $5. I was shocked. The little stuffed animals are usually $20, $30. They're down to $5. Why? They need cash flow. So they're dropping prices. So you're going to see prices on things like that drop. That's what we're seeing. I mean, Amazon is no longer the price leader on this stuff. Go to your local PetSmart and you get it for less than half the price of Amazon, which I think is kind of cool. You know, the government centralized things, and they built up Amazon. They built up Walmart. They intervene in everything. This is not capitalism. It's not a level playing field. Nothing like that. You're not going to get that until you actually have the proper revolution for it. And I mean by that, return to self-rule, not bloody violent, but looks like it's going to go bloody violent. Trump wants to expand the police powers. Not a good thing. Police make enough mistakes as it is. And they're getting a little heavy-handed. Anyway, all of these courts that we are subjected to are all illegal. They're all unlawful, actually. They're not constitutional. They're not proper jurisdictions. But American people do not want to hear the truth. That's the way it's always been. In my family, they did not want to hear the truth coming from a little boy. Can't say those things. My grandfather took me out and told me, you know, we can see things, and we can know things, but we mustn't say things. Yeah, I guess I was too open, too unfiltered, too honest. And I was upsetting the adults. But that's the way it is in society at large. Nobody wants to face the truth. We have a large contingent inside the country that wants to take the other side down. And the other side is reacting towards it. This divide and conquer was set up by the bankers before the Great Depression. There was a banker, young banker. He's like 21 or 22 at the time of the Great Depression. He's on YouTube somewhere, and I do not remember his name, but he told us. He was in the boardroom, and he said he thought he could avoid another Great Depression with all the bank runs. So they said, well, fine, study it and tell us about it. He studied it. They gave him a raise in salary, gave him another position. And he studied it for 2 years, and he gave his presentation before the same people. And the men walked out of the room. And he was kind of flabbergasted because there were no questions. And the president of the bank, you know, as he was headed out of the room, the president of the bank told him, it'll never happen. We have so divided these people that they will never be unified again. Well, when things get bad enough, people unify. We have been taken over from within. We don't control our presidents. Our presidents don't even control themselves. Bibi Netanyahu tells Congress and the Senate what he wants, and they give it to him. Everything has become so corrupted, and people are so out of touch with reality that I'm afraid we are going to have nuclear war. But I have to say, at this point, I think we deserve it. Why would I say that? Well, we allow these presidents to manipulate us, bullshit us, and engage us in lies for the purposes of waging war for the bankers to enrich that upper class. And we get poorer as we go along with this. And the rest of the world gets more angry with us and pissed off at us. No, they don't love us out there. They don't love us and they don't respect us because we don't even understand our own government. We don't have control over it at all. And we're supposed to have the freedoms to be able to take care of ourselves, but we don't. I don't think that Kamala would have been... Well, there would have been a good thing about Kamala Harris. She would have united the country. She would have united the country against her and her rule and her ironclad authority and her dictates. No, we are controlled by the British, who in turn are subservient to the Pope. That's the way it's always been. It's the way it's going to stay until Americans wake up and realize, until Americans are willing to stop floating down the river of denial. I do not see much good happening. I don't. It's just the way it's going to be. 80% of you think Trump's doing a good job. Oh, excuse me, it just tastes so good. I wake up every morning and I hear sounds. I hear machinery sounds. I hear industrial sounds as I come back to life in my body. Occasionally I get to spend time pretty close to the source because I've seen it a few times. Been right there with it a few times. And it looks a lot like, well, it looks a lot like this symbol. I didn't want to buy a cross of Tammuz. And this is not the best specimen, but this is okay. This is, I guess this is called Shungite. And I don't know if I can get you a good picture of the design on it. I don't know if you can see. No, I can't. Yeah, there you go. Well, there you go. It looks like 13 asterisks, if you will, or 13 stars, 13 points within the structure, within the substance, the source. This place was made marvelously. It's just incredibly. But the problem is the wicked, evil ones, with the help of the fallen angels, they figured out the workings of the universe, and they've been using this stuff against us. Yes, Trump is right. They've got weapons we've never heard of. But the problem is that we have no control over them. We don't have control over the president. We don't have control over any of it at this point. We're not represented properly or fairly. We have a Congress that has has sold us out and enriched themselves at our expense. We have a banking system that's nothing but a bunch of frauds. Some want to call it money magic, black magic. And the fact is that if the American people understood the banking system, they'd be chasing the bankers down the streets in the morning. No way the bankers would be getting away, because they have been cheating us for so long. But Congress helps them out. The media helps them out. It's all one big giant machine. It's a beast system. And it's kind of sad. It really is. We have women running around saying they want husbands, but they just want a paycheck. They just want the goodies. They don't want a man. And if they want a man, they want a bad guy. That's what they go for. That's what they choose. So I don't know why they do that, but that's what they do. And unfortunately, we've created a culture. Our society today supports their bad choices. So they can make whatever bad choices they want, and we are either going to put it in the backs of the men that tried to love them. We're going to support that. We're going to enforce, we're going to reward their bad behavior. And today it's like, I'm sorry, what is there for me? There's nothing out there. The odds of a man finding a proper mate are less than 1%. Now, it used to be that women had trouble getting men, but they got us, and we ended up having families, and we stayed together. I mean, it was good. It was much better. But the CIA, in particular, decided to destroy our culture and our society. And they decided to reduce us as far as they could. And they've done that. And they're continuing to reduce us. That's what they all work on together. The great work, their great work, is the euphemism they use to describe the sheer, utter destruction of civilization and the return to barbarism. And you're not going to like this. But some of the ways in which my mind has put the Bible and these things together has not been very pretty. And I don't think you're ready for it anyway. You need to understand there's a lot more on the planet than what you think there is. The planet is actually probably several times bigger. We're just stuck in a little prison with an ice wall around us. 50,000 miles of ice wall. Is the earth flat? I don't know. I think the part we are on is flat. But, you know, I'm open to it. I don't have all the answers. I'm open to the structure of this universe. And these people, the wicked people at the top that have sequestered off this advanced technology, they're going to use it evilly. That's all there is to it. And you need to understand, because you have turned your back on Yahweh, Creator, Father God, and we're all guilty of that, at least at some point. I mean, sure, we could applaud ourselves and pat ourselves on the back for having, converted, having realized the error of our ways and done the best we can to correct ourselves and to seek correction, to seek understanding. But the fact is, we're all connected on this planet. In so many ways, it's not funny. And there are so many more dimensions beyond the dimensions that we exist in. I think those are all necessary dimensions to have life here, right now. I think it's a miracle that we're alive. We're actually kind of between two universes as far as I can tell. But the universal traits of humankind are, we don't want to have our feathers ruffled. We don't want to hear the truth. We don't want to face the truth. We don't want to know the truth. Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear that. I remember when my mother says, don't say that. I love the Jews. And it's like, yeah, okay. I understand that somewhat. We've been sold a false bill of goods that they are the victims and strictly the victims and always the victims and they're only victims, which is not true. those camps, those concentration camps, were run by the Zionist Jews to round up the anti-Zionist Jews. At least half of the Jews were thinking right and realizing Zionism is not the answer. And of course, I hate it when somebody uses the word Nazi because they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. The tail end, the ass end of Nazi is Zionist International, ZI. That's where it comes from. No, I didn't make this stuff up. Eustace Mullins was much more widely read than I am or I ever will be. He hasn't read the Bible quite as much. That I understand. And I've limited myself because, well, let's face it, I don't have a position in the Library of Congress accepting incoming manuscripts, cataloging them and putting them on the shelves or not on the shelves. Eustace Mullins had access to those manuscripts that never made it to the shelves. They've been waging biological warfare against us for more than a century. You need to understand they are violently, wickedly evil. And this genocide that's going on in Israel right now, that's on you and me. That's on we Americans because we're going along with it. Going along to get along. 80% of us, well, it's probably not a very accurate poll. You know, I'm certain at the base that the poll was actually answered by more conservatives than anybody else. Trump will be a total failure when the nukes fly. Yeah, then you'll say he's a failure. Trump is creating discord, instability, and it's not the way to do things. He's also skirting the Constitution too much. He can't get his proper constitutional authority because of the courts, the Congress, and all that. But he's also trying to exceed it in some ways. If Trump was any sort of a man, he would declare that the original 13th Amendment is the law of the land, and he'd tell Vance to go home because he's a bar bastard. And he would roll it back and say the 14th, 15th, all subsequent amendments are null and void, out of order. And all of this legal precedent built upon them is null and void. And the Supreme Court rulings do not become the law of the land. They rule on a case-by-case basis, and that's it. But we don't have proper courts in this country. We have these corporations that leech off the people and destroy us as much as they can. Believe me, if there's any shooting to be done, the people that have been wearing the black robes are going to be getting their asses shot. The people that wear the black uniforms, they're not blue. There's no thin blue line. They gave up that color blue a long time ago. And those police aren't willing to protect our rights at all. I mean, why should a traffic cop, a cop in a traffic accident, decide he's going to jump aboard somebody else's car and then shoot the guy blindly over unpaid tolls that were due on the rental car that he was driving? It wasn't even his rental car. He had no idea what was going on. The police officer didn't know what was going on, and he had no patience. And sadly, you know, the young man gets rattled, and I don't think he made the right decisions. I don't know. I certainly wasn't there. But finally, we have a Fourth Amendment ruling that all of the facts and circumstances have to be considered by the court, which is about time. But we're going to be going through a police state that's tighter than ever. And they're going to use all of that shit, all of that stuff they've done in the name of getting rid of the illegals. That's going to be turned on us. Don't kid yourself. The one CIA agent, I don't remember her name, but they took her and held her for 5 years under the Patriot Act and never did charge her. Didn't reimburse her either. And her hair turned white while she was incarcerated for 5 fucking years. And why did they incarcerate her? Because they didn't want her to tell the truth. She was the agent involved in Libya and involved in Iraq. And those countries were willing to do anything to get along with America. But we couldn't allow that because we had to use our war machine, the bankers' war machine. We had to genocide on behalf of them. Trump's doing his genocide in Gaza. That's Trump's genocide. Let's put it on his ass where it belongs. Bill Clinton did his genocide in Rwanda. Henry Kissinger did genocide in Cambodia and in East Pakistan and India. I mean, these people are up there purposely to kill people, and we let them get away with it. And we're guilty of their crimes. We are guilty of their crimes. Trump is genociding Gaza with some bullshit about, oh, what beautiful real estate. It's beachfront property. It's going to be a paradise. It's not yours to genocide those people, Trump. You don't make it to heaven. That's all there is to it. You're not a good guy. You don't even recognize how you contributed to the Ukrainian war, and you don't even realize that you can't negotiate it because you're a belligerent, a co-belligerent, if not the belligerent. And you let this government and the CIA, controlled by Zionists, do that to those people. America is never going to learn until the nukes go flashing. That's all there is to it. The nuclear war is in the Bible. Thank God he's designed this earth so it recycles itself. And thank God we're at the end of the earth age so that we can have the earth recycled, because it's going to need it. The earth is going to need another real bad ice age, and probably a volcanically active ice age on top of that. In other words, the real destructive one that occurs about every 5th cycle. We need that to purify this earth from the pollution we brought to it, the bloodshed, the shedding of innocent blood. I'm not making this stuff up. That's Trump's genocide in Israel. And that's the title of this. And yeah, I don't care if he's offended by it. What he's done is offensive. He doubled down and he's been living. How many murders, how many deaths is Trump responsible for now? In the Ukraine, he's responsible for about 5,000 or 6,000 deaths a week since he got in office. He should have pulled the plug immediately, like he said he implied he was going to do. He should have just stopped all support for that. But America's not willing to admit America's guilt. America's not willing to repent. Yahweh has found us guilty. We're all going to go up in a bunch of bright-ass flashes and a puff of smoke. I'm not going to argue with him. I'm not going to argue about the judgment upon America. What, you want me to argue with Il Papa, with the big man? No. This has all been set up a long time ago. All of these wars have been set up a long time ago. And the outcome for America has been set up for a long time ago. It says clearly in the Bible, Yahweh's going to make a home for those nuclear missiles in the land of Shinar. The only way Yahweh repents is if we repent first. Read the book of Jonah. Yahweh's capable of repenting, but we aren't. And so we will be snuffed out. Yeah, I'm part of the 3% that think Trump has been weak. Yeah, he does exactly what the Jews, the bankers, Bibi Netanyahu tells him to do. It makes it look like he's being manipulated. Makes it look like he's being manipulated. He's been their boy all along. May Yahweh bless. I appreciate your repentance and your time shared here with me.